Well, an awful shooting occurred yesterday, as you saw in Annapolis, Maryland. 5 employees of Capital Gazette Communications were murdered. Apparently, they were victims of a deranged man who'd had a years-long vendetta, and well-documented vendetta, against the paper. We found that out a couple of hours after the shootings. And yet some people didn't wait that long to blame the White House for what happened yesterday. You saw it again and again. Media figures jumping up and pointing fingers at President Trump, who, for the record, was not in Annapolis yesterday. Breakfast Media White House correspondent Andrew Feinberg was even more direct. He tweeted this: "You caused this, Mr. President." He didn't explain how. Dan Bongino is a former Secret Service agent and NRA TV contributor, and he joins us tonight. It's a little weird, Dan. I kept thinking, and this is not a defense of the president or his rhetoric or anything like that, but it's a defense of accuracy and the truth. These are reporters, journalists, and of all people, shouldn't they be waiting for the facts before rendering judgment? And yet they were the quickest to jump in with ill-informed claims.
Yeah. Tucker, I've never seen anything like this. We are in the most hostile political environment I've seen in my, 40-plus years on the planet where I've been conscious. Listen, Tucker, the horrible shooter that shot up the baseball field in Alexandria, that wasn't Bernie Sanders' fault, okay? Although he was a Sanders supporter, obviously. The Sarah Palin incident with the bullseyes over the target with the Loeffner Street, that was not Sarah Palin's fault, okay? Speech is not violence. And the effort by some, sadly, on the other side of the aisle, to constantly make that conflation when it comes to conservatives, that we are somehow responsible, that Donald Trump is responsible, is nothing but trying to get a heckler's veto over our speech. Donald Trump is perfectly entitled, Tucker, to be adversarial and even at times confrontational with the press if he feels he's being mistreated. How he chooses to deal with that rhetorically is up to him. But the effort to conflate that with violence is utterly absurd and is nothing more than an effort to get a heckler's veto over our speech.
Well, especially since this Ramos guy didn't seem particularly political. He was mad at the newspaper because they wrote a piece about him stalking some former high school classmate. It had nothing to do with American politics, and the morons immediately start ascribing different motives. Bizarre, bizarre. Another thing, so another mass shooting question. We got footage from the Mandalay Bay shooting, which took place, as you remember, at the beginning of October, just the other day. And in it, we see the police, or several police officers, armed, basically waiting outside the room while the shooting takes place. We didn't get this for more than 8 months, this video. And many people have been asking for it. Is there a possible, as a former law enforcement officer, is there any possible justification for withholding this from the public?
No, and I've done a lot of commentary on this show about this Las Vegas shooting. I think what's going on here, Tucker, is you have a tourism-heavy industry in Las Vegas that's eager to make this story go away. But, I sincerely do appreciate you staying on this, though, because we're entitled to answers about one of the largest mass murders in American history. And remember, too, regarding that, we don't know what commands were given or why they were given, so it's tough for us, obviously, to second-guess anything. But post-Columbine, these active shooter scenarios, obviously the training is to stop that problem right away. Why this was kept from the public, I don't know, but I know there's a lot of moneyed interests that really just want this story to disappear. But we shouldn't. We deserve answers on it.
We're almost out of time, and I don't want to ask you to speculate, but in the broadest possible terms, do you think there are still big things that we don't know about the Las Vegas shooting?
I do. I believe it's related to the motive, and I believe the motive is might be a story that would put that on the front page of papers, and they don't want that. There are obviously people who want the story to go away, and it's not some X-Files conspiracy theory. It's just the fact that it's bad for business, and they'd like to see the story disappear as soon as possible.
Everything comes out in the end, thank God. Dan Bongino, thank you for that.
Sure does.